Stream this book.
Yes, we have.
We're live.
Can we talk now?
You can talk anytime you want to, but just realize that it's going out live right now and we're
Oh,
getting set up.
yeah. We're gonna be the greatest thing ever.
Okay, gentlemen, we are recording and we are live on Facebook. So, Bruce,
All right. Well, if you guys remember, because we really have been gone for way too long, but get up right here, kid. Okay. We've been gone for quite a while simply because we're getting like tired of thinking we can't do anything. And I tell you, sometimes I got I got new energy when I talk to this guy,
you
and
might want to
he
introduce him.
is, well, Sandy, or what are they? The cardiac kid. Looking for a name.
Cardiac kid.
And
He looks a little young for
cowboy,
heart
the
failure.
cowboy kid. What did we decide on? I sat there and said, if you didn't find a name for yourself, I'll just call you the dumbass kid. And I'll tell you what, we could go with that. And if you're good and brilliant, like I think you will be, we'll change that. But what are we gonna call you?
I mean, we can go with let's start with the dumbass kid and see if I can switch that.
Whoa, that's what do I have? That's why we have hope. We have somebody that can sit there and relate to not whining about being a little bitch because somebody says something bad. That
What?
is one of the major problems we got. And of course, obviously, if you've ever seen us before, you know Pitbull right here.
Well, here's
This
the
is
thing.
it. This is my wife also.
I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that Sandy, um, too many times people think it's just us old farts
Oh,
that are out there bitching and moaning and complaining and things, all they ever have to say about a lot of the younger generations, no work ethic, yada yada yada. You can fill in the blank, but I think it's important for people to understand that there's a lot more younger people that are becoming motivated now. And I think Sandy's a very good example of the people that I believe are going to be very competent in taking over the reins when you and I are finally in the RV actually doing a vacation instead of busting our chops doing this. But I just wanted him to be introduced and if people understand that the younger generation isn't totally head up butt.
I tell you what, I gotta agree. Sandy, what are you thinking?
I just think the way our world's going right now, like we're in a lot of trouble, and just the pressures that are put on us, and just our whole, all of our political leaders, like just what we've come to know lately in the last year, even two. Like I know myself, I used to think a lot better of our country and the system that it had in place. But the more I dive into it, the worse it gets for me and the worse I realize it is, and how it's just a big game and they're just putting on a show for us to think that we have control and we have power. But really, I feel like we're losing our power and people are just too comfortable taking the back seat now. And I'm not one of those people, and I want to change that for my generation and the generations to come.
I think we did. I think our generation failed we did lots of things that weren't right. I mean, okay, we could say the Bushes, we could say
Mhm.
Clinton, we can say all kinds of things, but basically, we as a generation sat on our asses and let things happen. And if you guys do that and we don't start doing anything, we're going to be in lots of trouble. Well, which we are, of course.
Yeah.
You look at the situations we in. I mean, as far as I'm concerned about, you sit there and talking about division and stuff, and the big wigs in politics. I always say, I told you every time, it's a pro wrestling match. Most of the stuff is fake in here. You sit there and everything's going to be all dramatic, and I'm going to be out here and I'm going to fight for you, and the other guy's a piece of crap. And they sit there and they go and have a beer together and they laugh at us because we are being a bunch of dumbasses and we're not doing our jobs. We're not sitting there and realizing it. Everybody sits there, and I know we got to work. We got to get jobs done, but we can't let the country go to hell. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I think too many people too, like they don't want to get political, they'd rather just not think about it. But I mean, that's not the right approach. Like stuff's gonna go on, it's gonna happen regardless, whether you're into it or not. And I think the more voices that we have trying to dictate what happens in the political field, the better it is for us and our future.
I tell you what, I got to sit there and I always been, well, actually, I should say I started fighting about 30 years ago when I met my wife about the politics. And you guys are the first generation or people that have been like ready to start kicking ass. And unfortunately, I should say you guys, and when I'm saying it, you guys are the ones that are doing it because right now, you girls of your generation, 20 to 35, you girls are dividing the country. You're dividing everything up. I mean, I don't know if how you feel about it, but I know the generation with all you guys in. And basically, one thing that I noticed about it is, or one person that I give lots of credit to is Charlie Kirk. And I tell you what, he got you men motivated. And I still always am going to say that's why he was eliminated because he was doing the job. And but he still, well, Kitty, you know it. Couldn't get, or we don't, it doesn't seem like the girls are catching on here. What do you think about that?
Well,
Am I wrong?
that's because they're told from the time that they're very, very young that they're underpaid, underappreciated, overworked, and men are evil.
Yeah.
And if you're told that from the time you're basically in preschool, is it any surprise that that's what you believe by the time you get to college? Because it constantly is being reinforced again and again and again and again and again. And those are very impressionable times. And this is why, in my opinion, we have a lot of young people who can't do math, can't pass a proficiency course in English, can't read, but by God, they know their pronouns. Okay, and that's a crime because um when you're brought up, especially as a female, and I heard it a lot even when I was in college, to believe that men are nothing more than predators.
We got to chuckle about it.
You can laugh your ass off, but I mean, I had so many female professors that would just literally stand up in front of a class and foam at the mouth. And if you were a guy in the class, you weren't going to get anything more than a C. You didn't have a chance.
Gotta say, I'm gonna say about the women, why? I gotta ask anybody that can think, is why do you think that the women and I put it both, it doesn't matter whether white or black or something, but so many of you sit there and think that the white women would have a different attitude about it, but it seems like that age is all together and all they care about, they seem to care more about trans people, gay people, the underdogs, the poor. And it's like they always sit there and say, "Oh, that's so terrible."
Well, look at
And
women's athletics. They're allowing men in their locker rooms, they're allowing men to compete
yes,
against them, and they're all sitting there going, "Oh, we just feel he's one of the girls." Take a look at the plumbing. No, he's not.
It's different. What do you
No,
think
he's
about
not. And if he was in my locker room, he'd be in a locker with the combination thing. And as I walked out of the door of the Y, I would say, you might want to check locker 31 in the ladies' locker room. I believe there's someone with an issue. And I'd say, and you can cancel my membership right now.
I
what?
mean, I agree with that. Like, you look at like China, kind of like how do I put it? Like
Say whatever you want.
kind of the switch in the United States. I think it was when we took the woman out of the house. Our
Ah,
I'm not saying that a woman should just be at the house, like cooking and stuff like that, but I mean, why not? Let your wife be the one to raise your children, care for them 24/7, look after you and the whole house. I mean, as a guy, I'd appreciate that a lot from a woman. I mean, that's what I'd love. I'd love to have a wife who stays at home, who takes care of my kids, who teaches them instead of maybe not even going to school, just homeschools them. And she
hmm.
cares for the house and takes care of things for around the house. It was so turned to like, oh, women need to have their own career now. They need to go do this. And instead of like looking at the whole family aspect, I feel like that's what we've gotten so far away from in the US is like we don't really look at like bringing up a family now. It's not like,
Families are terrible.
yeah,
They're looked at as evil.
yep, uh-huh,
And you're very right, because what happened was it being a wife and a mother and a homemaker became evil.
yeah.
It wasn't just an option, it was a how dare you.
It was almost
And
an insult to
it wasn't
women to even think that they
it
should be
was
doing that.
that's what we were raised as. And I'll be honest, it started a lot earlier than a lot of people think, because as I was a kid, when I was growing up, my mom was one that was a home mother. And I had grew up with a lot of friends whose moms worked. And guess where all the kids were after school?
Your house,
My
yeah.
house. And it wasn't because they couldn't go and screw around at their homes because their parents weren't home. It was because my mom was there.
Hmm.
And so there's something that's important about that to a child.
I tell you what, could we all agree that, hey, it doesn't have to be the woman staying at home. I mean, somebody should be at home
Yeah.
and somebody should be helping to nurture the kids and stuff like that. I tell you what, if a woman has
A
the
better job.
potential for a bit more, heck, my wife's a lot smarter than I was, so I'll put her out in the yes, yes, and stuff like that. I mean, rather than me, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say it's a woman's place to be at home,
But a
but
parent should be there.
Yeah.
yes, yes, I could. Could you live with that, or you
Yeah, I could
more
live
into?
with that.
Yep, and that's the way we are, guys. I mean, oh, and I know one thing about why this doesn't work is because we have to do better than the Joneses. We have to have a better house. We have. I mean, what the
Mm.
heck is wrong with us when we have to have a $4,000, 4,000 square feet home? All right. What is with that? That's what we have to
The
live in
cars.
nowadays. And the cars have to be $60,000.
Oh, honey,
It's
that's
like,
cheap. You
yeah,
can't buy
yes,
a car
I
for
know.
60.
Well, the average is
Not a new
around,
one. Yeah, the
yep.
average is 75.
It's outrageous what's happening here. We're getting way too greedy
Sweetie, we
and we
were
got to
paying
let down.
$75,000 for this house.
I know. We
And there are people paying that for their cars.
exactly. And it's like I say, why do you need those things? You don't, and that's why you need two paychecks. I understand that, but it's like going, think about it.
But
You is that really that big ass house making you happy?
but there's something that's come along with all of that too. And that's where Epstein gets involved here, because
Ah,
the destruction of the family and the push to normalize pedophilia,
Mm.
um, human trafficking, sex workers. There was just this big movie that won all these awards out that glorified sex worker trafficking. Now, if that's what you want to do, go for it, but don't glorify it. I mean, seriously. I mean, the movie made it like it was Disneyland, and um, I talked to some young ladies that took some wrong turns, and trust me, that is not Disneyland.
mhm.
And it is not uh, a profession that many of them, had they been given a different choice,
Mm.
would have taken. But in the push to normalize all this, you end up with predators like Epstein. You end up with politicians that are end up hooked into Epstein because they have their own proclivities, and you end up with a culture around women where by empowering them, you've allowed them to learn how to demean themselves. Now, isn't that a sad comment on life?
That is definitely sought. And I'm glad you brought it up because originally I asked Sandy here what he wanted to talk about today. Because I was saying, hey, we got dumbass here. What the heck do you young kids want to do? And one of the guys that was going to talk me could possibly thinking about coming in. He said that he wanted to talk about the uh,
Zionist.
Zionist. Thank you. And I go, holy crap! I don't want. I want to live. I want to see 70. And
I want to keep my Facebook
and
account.
Sandy says, for the first podcast, how about if we talk about Epstein? And that's what I said. Okay, your choice. You are new to this thing. You get to talk about it. So this is going to you. Okay.
How old are you?
21.
Okay, you're 21. So when the whole Epstein thing raised its ugly head for real, not just the original forays when he was originally arrested and everybody tisk and he got out and
Yeah.
continued as usual. What is your opinion of what's been going on with the Epstein case, the back and forths, and how suddenly all our politicians are virginal?
I think the whole thing's just been kind of crazy because there's only been like a few handful of people really trying to push and get like the information out there and get the truth out to the public. And that's what's so shocking to me is because like if what is on there, if what people say is on the Epstein list and stuff, all that, and you don't want it out there, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you not want to bring justice to these people and get the victims what they deserve to get these monsters in jail? And like, if it's gonna do what Pam Bondi said, like
Hmm.
collapse the whole system, like let it collapse. I mean, it obviously needs to, but like as um as was said earlier, like a lot of these girls, as I was looking into like the Epstein list and stuff, it's not like these girls kind of like had like the so-called choice in like what they chose to do. Like they're almost kind of like suckered into the whole like, hey, we have money, we'll help you get something that you need. And that was kind of like how Epstein roped them in, and it was kind of like he had them by the balls, but not because they're girls, but yeah. Nowadays, I guess you could.
There you go now.
Yes.
But he kind of
What?
But he kind of put him in the position where like they had to do what he wanted, and then he took advantage of that and just used it for whatever he wanted and his friends wanted, and the whole thing's just crazy to me. How like people don't want the truth out there. They don't want to bring this whole thing down. Like no one's even pushing for it, and everyone's just trying to keep blowing it over, and there's only like a handful of people trying to figure out the truth, and it's like, how can only a handful of people care that this is brought to light? What it's just so disgusting
The
to me.
normalization of it is probably what allowed those young ladies to be entrapped because the Victoria's Secret guy is in it up to his sweet little neck. And of course, they were all started out
Oh,
being promised modeling contracts.
Les Wexner's as his
Yeah,
name?
and so these girls were promised, oh, they were fed a lie.
Yeah.
And then they're all young and they all believed it. And then of course they're told there's nothing wrong with this. This is just the way life is. If you want to be this model or this is the way that things are done. And the way culture has gone, why would these young ladies think anything else at first? Because, well, if that's the price of business, and it should never be allowed that a young lady believes that that is the price of business.
I tell you what, Hollywood started that.
The
Yeah.
cast room couch, yeah.
Yes. Yep. And I gotta agree. And I tell you one thing, when we're looking at who to blame. I mean, what's the media doing? I mean, there's supposed to be this honest little helpful stuff situation, and I mean, the media is complacent with this. I mean, they're
They're pushing it. They're not even
they're
complacent. They're active in pushing it, babe.
well, they're definitely keeping the cover up. And how are we going to do this? Now, I sit there and I go, okay, this isn't a end of the world thing for me, but I mean, it's something that's we gotta sit there. Why aren't we looking at it? Why? I mean, it's pretty damn obvious. There's lots of people with some serious money
Oh,
that are doing this stuff. I mean, you don't sit there and get down to Epstein Island unless you are somebody,
why are
right?
we allowing this to become political where we want to talk about your guy, but we don't want to talk about our guy? Let's talk about
Yeah.
everybody.
Yes. And
That's
let's
like
name names.
Trump's always trying to say he's like, oh, that's a Democratic thing. But there's he's on there a bunch and there's so many other Republicans are it too. It's not just one side. It's
Open the gates.
yeah, it's
Let the nets fly.
Yeah.
And if it takes
No,
some people, oh well.
well, would you? Okay. I mean, I'm kind of, I shouldn't say I'm neutral. I mean, I really want everybody to go down, but you guys are willing to
Dismantle the whole thing and
dismantle the
start
whole
over.
thing.
yeah,
I'm a like if to keep the thing together, I have to allow people like this to remain in power, tear down the walls.
yeah.
Tear down the walls. These are not people I want in power. Do you want them in power? I don't.
No, no. I gotta sit there and say, hey, okay, big question for me is how the hell are we gonna do this? Because we're all with it that I don't give a damn if it's Donald Trump. I don't give a damn if it's Clinton, both Clintons. Of course, it would be both Clintons because down, believe me, down in the island, you get what you want, you know. But how do you think? What do we have to do to get these guys? Gi- make me feel good about it because, like I say, it's like lots of people in the country sit there and say, like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, and I know that's something that I don't like to say, but sometimes I do say it. What do you say? How can we do this?
I think right now the only way for things to be taken care of is for us people to take back the power. Because if you look at the people who are leading it right now, they're obviously not trying to do anything. You look at Pam Bondi, she had every opportunity. She didn't even interview the victims or talk to them about anything. You look at Cash Patel, he's done nothing. He literally ran before he was the FBI director that he was going to release everything on Epstein, and then he goes on Joe Rogan. He's like, "Oh, there's no Epstein list and this and that," and then it comes back, and now there is an Epstein list, and there's files, and now it's coming out, and it's like none of them are doing anything. So it's got to come back to us people to bring the power, and I mean, we'd have to take into power and take over and show that we want it our way, and we want people in there who are deciding things for our country and stuff to have the same thoughts that we have, because we don't want these idiots that are in there now who are okay with pedophilia, raping girls and stuff like that to do that. It has to be on us people because no one else is going to take the charge and do it for us.
The easiest way to do this would be to get the list, find out who these people are. We don't have to storm the Bastille, but we certainly don't have to revote them into office.
Yeah,
I mean, but see, my worry is this: is the way things are setting up right now. It's almost like there's football teams. Look at the NFL. Somebody on your team commits a felony. Oh well, that you can come up with a million excuses, right? Somebody on the opposing team commits a felony. Oh God, he should. What do you mean he's not? He's going to be allowed to play. We have to understand that if you commit the act, no matter what side of the aisle, no matter who you are, you have to be gone. And we have to do that. We have to have the stern enough fortitude to say, it's my guy. He messed up. Vote him out. Prosecute him. My woman, my judge, my whatever. But I don't think people today have that in them. Maybe your generation does, but I certainly know a lot of mine don't.
I like another way you ask how we could kind of do this is I'd say like first off, money has to be taken out of politics
Ah,
because
yeah.
that obviously is such a deciding factor in everything that happens now. I mean, we were talking about Zionist earlier, but we can go down Jeffrey Epstein, who he worked for and had coots with, and if we said Les Wexner earlier, he's obviously, and you go down the media Zionist, and it's like these people have a lot of pull in what's going on and the money they're giving these senators and stuff. And first thing, you'd have to take the money out of politics. That's the only way to fix anything, or at least start. I feel like that'd be the best place to start, and then maybe go from there.
That's just gonna be a bear because they're gonna
Yeah.
talk about the Constitution and everybody has a right for that. It's gonna be ugly. Now, one thing I gotta say about, and you mentioned the media, we all have mentioned the media. A very interesting thing about the media. You'll see that not one of the major media people have ever mentioned the Rothschilds, and they are mentioned in the files
Oh yeah.
12,000 times. Different of the Rothschilds. The emails, and that is something that's very frustrating for me, is why aren't we saying who really is mentioned? And of course, everything's redacted anyway. You get that black mark everywhere on all those pages. But selecting that nobody, nobody, right? The conservative media, whoever they consider themselves, or the liberal media, whoever they consider themselves, from CNN to Fox News, none of them have ever mentioned that the Rothschilds is the number one name besides Epstein and Maxwell. They are the number one name. And why doesn't anybody say about that? This is what's scary about it, because this is a money thing. This is power thing. And and that is definitely.
Like even just that, I think that's like where the connection is because like you look at Jeffrey Epstein and who he was in his early life, he was a nobody, he was a teacher, and then all of a sudden he makes this big move and he goes in the trade broking, and he gets into that for a few years, and then all of a sudden he takes over for Les Wexner, and then all of a sudden he has millions of dollars at his disposal, has mansions, jets that Les just gives to him, and it's like, well, like, what's going on here? And it's like, is that the whole play for the media, like to get stuff for them? Like, it's Les in cahoots with the Rothschilds, and it's like, it's it's kind of like an all over the place thing, but they kind of all relate with like we were talking Zionism earlier, and is that the main thing in power here with even like the Rothschilds and the connection to Epstein because he was obviously working for Mossad, but he also worked for CIA and worked for Obama for him. And it's like, who was he really working for? It was probably the Rothschilds, but there's no way to definitely say.
Well, look at the fact that people go into politics, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and the rest of them, and they don't have a pot to piss in.
Hmm.
And in less than a couple of years, they're double-digit millionaires.
Yeah,
Now, how does that happen? Not in any way that's good. So that's why when you say take the money out, but the problem is for us to take the money out, who's going to have to do that? They're going to have to vote for that because they're the ones that are going to have to vote for no insider trading. They're the ones that are going to have to vote for what their stipends are and stuff. Personally, I think once you retire, you should not get to keep that Senate salary and all the other goodies for the rest of your life. Once you retire, you should be done.
yeah.
Yeah,
It shouldn't carry over.
yeah, you're right. Why do we have, for 6 years they get hundred millions of dollars a year?
They get 250. It's a fairly
Yeah.
low salary, which doesn't help explain why they end up with double digit million
Yeah.
after a couple of years. But the fact that they get to keep all the perks of their office for the rest of their lives. And why, I mean, why wouldn't you want to run for office if you were nefarious? Because you just put in enough time and that clicks in, and there you go. You get to, and then most of them turn around and become lobbyists.
Yeah.
The never-ending cash cow. Lobbyists.
It's like another thing, like what same person even wants to go do that job too? Because I know,
No sane one.
like, I don't want to go do that. And it's like the people that are going to do it, I mean,
But
they're not our best choices to be representing us, and that's another big
that's the
problem.
problem, Sandy.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'm sorry, guys.
See, what did we just say, Sandy? See, the people.
The lower level, yes. But no, actually, I can say I wouldn't mind doing a job like that. I mean, because oh, I gotta ask one thing just so we don't miss out on everything. All right, names. Are you willing to say names? Do you feel good about anybody? I mean,
What do you mean?
well, okay,
You lost me too.
Trump.
All like
Uh,
people that we like,
or who do you think would be not of all the people in politics? Name some names that you don't think would probably go into the Epstein's Island, and which ones do you think would go?
That's a short list.
What do you
The
want?
ones where they won't go.
Okay,
That would be a real short list.
okay, Donald Trump. How many here thinks he went to the island?
for sure.
You're for sure, kid.
I'm not so sure he went to the island, but did he know him and did they rub shoulders and stuff? Absolutely. But then again, I'm also going to say, just because you stand next to somebody and they take a picture doesn't mean you participated in it. And that's the gray line that is dangerous here, because Epstein made sure that he was seen with everybody. And I've been next to people that I wouldn't, if the bus came by, I'd probably give him a shove. But if you took a picture, you'd go, well, there she is standing next to him.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got to be real careful with that. But I where I draw the line is when people like the Clintons said, we had no idea.
Yeah. That
Okay,
was
I
insane.
tell you what,
yeah.
I tell you what,
That
I
was
tell
for
you what,
jokes too.
I'm gonna sit there and say, hey, if you believe Clinton went there, I'm gonna sit there and say, I believe Clinton went there. I also believe Trump. I sit there and I'm gonna sit there and say, hey, you gotta, I'm gonna go with the assumption that they did. Isn't that terrible? Guilty before proven.
Well,
But
it works well for us when it's their side, but I would like
well, whose side is it?
I would
What side are we talking about? There's no side here.
well,
There,
what I'm
there's
talking about is when it's us common folk,
okay.
we okay, the IRS calls you up. They don't have to prove that you did something, didn't do something wrong. You have to prove you didn't.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we spend most of our lives proving our innocence when it comes down to government things, all right? They have taken that innocent until proven guilty and spun it completely on their head until it applies to them. And if we're going to have equal justice under the law, then it should apply for everybody. I love how they came out and said no one is above the law. And
Yes.
then the news started tightening, and it was amazing how many people wanted to be above the law.
Yep.
Woo!
And that's the thing about it. Obviously, that's why everything in those files is redacted because
Yeah,
a lots of people want to be above the law.
yeah.
And of course, Pam Bondi says obviously the world's going to go to hell if we ever release everything.
Too big to fail.
So that yes, oh exactly. The Bushes.
The banks
Yeah.
that we bailed out, too
It's
big to
actually
fail.
it's insane how much like they actually redacted because I was reading
Yeah.
some of it today
Oh,
and
okay.
and so I was reading it and it said JP, but it blanked out like the Morgan part. Like you couldn't put it together, but like it just had that one part blanked out because that was Epstein's bank that he used.
Okay.
And it was like why wouldn't you blank out the whole thing first off? And it's like why do you even have to blank any of it out?
Because then they can say that they're providing you with information, darling. See, they have plausible deniability, it's called, and they can say, we gave you as much. In fact, we gave you more than we probably should have. Meanwhile, the real serious stuff, gone.
Yeah.
See, but politicians do this all the time. Plausible deniability. They give you just enough information so that when shit hits the fan, they remain clean. They can,
Mm.
at the city level, they say, well, it's the state's fault. At the state level, it's the Fed's fault. The Feds bring it back down to the township. I mean, everybody's so busy dodging everything. Nobody's getting a damn thing done, but they're all clean and they're all working so hard for you. And all you got to do is reelect me, and by golly, we'll get them next time, Dipper. It's the story again and again and again.
And we'd fall for it every damn time.
Yep.
And that's what we have. How the heck are we ever gonna get wise? You, anybody?
The people have to come together. I mean, you were
Yeah.
talking a little bit about it earlier, the division, and
Yes.
it's like the media is always pushing division. If it's
Yeah.
like a little bit ago was ICE. They were just that was the narrative they had, and they just ran with it. And they ran with it over and over, and people were then rioting and having protests.
Ripping babies out of the arms of their parents.
Yeah, I mean, it was just insane, and it's always another thing. Like, if it's not one thing, it's just on to the next and the next, and they always just want to keep us divided. If it's race, ice, whatever it is, politics, they always find something, and
Yes.
they're smart because that's the only way to win for them is to keep us separated.
And
And
we fall for it every damn time.
It's been done for
Every time.
centuries.
Yes, it has. And we're still haven't figured out that, wow, okay, they've been talking about sexism.
mm,
Talking about homosexuality. They've been talking about men and women. I mean, it's everything. And religion, very good divider. Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
Look at
Very good
Ireland,
divider.
North and South Ireland. I mean, Northern Ireland, the
Yep,
Catholics versus
yep.
the Protestants.
That's and it's and we're always falling for it. And you always said something about diversions too. Oh, what had just happened here a
yep,
couple days ago? There was another diversion, and there's been diversion every time the
Something to
shit's about to hit the fan. Possibly there's another diversion, and I tell you what, has anybody anybody talked about Epstein in the media for the last 2 days?
nope.
You will not hear, you might not hear his name again for the,
It'll be quite a while.
yes, it will be. And it's like going, oh, well, we give up on that. And we do. And we're the people give
But
up on it too, lots of times.
But the problem is we have been conditioned again to have that 8-second attention span. And it's worse because in the classrooms today, everything's computerized, everything's digital, everything's boom,
Mm,
boom, 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 boom. And so without constant stimulation, kids go bonkers. They aren't allowed to sit there and just sit and have to rely on their own imagination or read a book and imagine something. They don't want to read, they want to watch the video. Everything is immediate gratification. And when you don't learn patience as a child, how do you expect anyone to have patience and cognitive ability to stay on task as an adult? They won't.
Jesus, that sounds like one of my problems. I'm serious. My attention span wasn't terrible. And but yeah.
But it's sad. It's
Yeah.
culture. We've allowed our culture to do this. In fact, it's expected. If you have a kid today that doesn't bring home a laptop or tell us some courses when it's a snow day or whatever. Well, and we're spending millions and millions of dollars in new schools, all high tech and everything else, but we're still producing kids that cannot read, write, do math, or understand science at the level that we did in the 70s when I graduated.
And 1800s.
Well, the 1800s was
Way
ridiculous.
above us, way above us. Well, I tell you
Have you
what are you
decided on a
thinking?
name for your podcast yet, darling? Because I don't think, what did you say? Dumb shit?
No, not Jesus. Where are you getting?
No,
Good God, now we're getting to dumb shit. It
shit.
was dumbass. My
I'm
God.
sorry.
Nobody wants to
Because
be.
that's so much better, darling.
What would you rather be called? A dumb shit or dumbass?
Okay.
No, God, Sandy, you're too.
That bad.
No. Okay. What do you think about closing up? You, young man. I
What
tell you what,
do you want to do?
you are definitely not a dumbass.
No, you are
Actually,
not, sweetheart.
I know. So you're gonna have a new name next time we show up and w- finish it off. You can sit there and
Well, I did.
I know neither one of us did or nobody did a very good name. Do you want to say any names or anything you want now about the Epstein Island shit?
And tell us what you hope for your generation, because we already know
Oh
we're just hoping to make it for another year out here.
yeah, not that bad.
Uh, so what do I want from my generation? I'd say for us to come together because you've seen so many generations ahead of me just division all the time, and it's like if we just came together and just put our differences, small differences that we have, because they love to make it seem like we have so much more than we really think. We're really way more alike. And if we could just put those
Mhm.
aside and come together and unite and just love our country for what it is and what it was founded on and just where was I gonna go with this?
It's all right. Happens to us. Wait till you're my age.
Yeah.
I think we just need to come together. I mean, it's always tearing us apart, and like everyone used to always be so proud to be an American, and like everyone loved it and flying flags and just so patriotic. And I swear you don't see that as much nowadays. It's almost like some people are ashamed, and that should never be the thing. We should always be proud of who we are, where we came from, and what we stand for, and that's just what we need to bring back. And I think my generation's slowly starting to wake up. I see it now in my friends a lot, and I just think we need to just keep talking about it, keep the subject up, and just keep talking because, like you said, Charlie Kirk did a good job with that because he just talked. He went out and just talked about his issues with people and brought it up and just he gave that simple talk and listen, talk and listen. And that's what we don't do enough today because there's social media out there and it's so easy to just get online and say, oh, this person's a dumbass, screw you. And you don't have any repercussions because they're not in front of you and you may never say that if they were. And we just need to talk more too, because that's just something that has gone so far away. It's so easy to just send that text and be like,
Mm.
I'll answer back tomorrow or something, or just whatever. And people just don't understand the big need for talk nowadays, and just maybe even talk about our differences and like set aside like, oh, I can meet you here, you meet me here, and it's like things aren't that bad at all. And we just need to realize that we aren't really that different. Our country's great, and we want we all want what's best for us and our friends and our families, and it's like why can't we just unite and chase that together instead of just always being divided.
I think that's a very wonderful point, and I'd also like to include with this, I wish that there were more people telling you guys what you could do rather than what you'll never own a house. You're never going to do this. You know what? Why aren't we spending more time telling you guys, go for it? The only thing stopping you is you.
Mm.
And I don't think you guys hear that enough as youngsters because people are so busy telling you you don't have it as good as the older generation. You'll never be as successful. Bullshit. You guys have got as good a chance as anybody else if you put your mind to it and you go for it. And I think that's a crime that you're being told that.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. You see that even like wrestling. If you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to be successful.
Exactly.
And I mean, if you have a coach who's telling you you can go win a gold medal, if he makes you believe it enough, I mean, you can really go do it. And
The only you can't do it if you don't feel if you don't feel it.
no.
And I gotta agree 100%. We sit there and you talk of division, we gotta sit there and start concentrating on our similarities. So like Kid always says, we have a hell of a lot more that we're
Mhm.
similar with in our lives and with other people than we have differences. But we well, let's just admit it, the media, the politicians, you sit there and listen to politicians, they always try to divide us. They sit there and they don't always talk about our differences. They don't
Mhm.
talk about our similarities. And you said it, we're Americans right now.
Doesn't
Let's
matter.
act like it.
It
Let's act,
doesn't matter.
let's get together.
Put that first and let the rest of the chips fall where they may, but at least, damn it, let's come together as people and as a country. You
I
good?
can live with that.
You good?
All right. My no more dumbass. Now he's a smart ass. That doesn't work neither. We'll figure it out. All right. Good to have you here, young buckaroo.
Yes, Sandy.
Thanks,
Very
Bruce.
good to have you there.
Thank
Yep.
you guys.
Oh, not a
All right,
problem.
guys, we
Well,
will talk again. And next time, what are we thinking about for the next show?
oh gosh, that's asking a lot. We just got a name for him. I mean, give the man some room to breathe.
Because I tell you what, there's so many things that we could talk about. And we're going to start coming back every week at least.
It's really nice to have a young voice too,
Well,
because we have two old farts know what we think, and so does everybody we speak to, because we don't hide it.
no,
But it's really nice having your voice here because it gives I think a lot of people out there some hope.
Yes.
And we, us old farts, need some hope every once in a while, dear.
That's why you're, that's why you're here. All right.
Everybody, as always, God bless.
Take care.
Take care.